In this part, we are going to use the credential provider, so the user can use the email and password to log in to the Next.js app. And we need the help of Vcrypt and Mongoose, so we have to add these two packages. And then we go to the Nextauth.js, and we do not need the adapter, because if we add adapter, the credential provider does not work. And because we already do not have the adapters, so we can also command the email provider first. To import the Mongoose from Mongoose, and then we are going to check if the Mongoose dot connections dot ready say, then we will console log already connected, and then we will return do not have any connection yet. We are going to use mongoose dot connect, and then we are going to connect to the MongoDB URI, so we use process dot env dot MongoDB URI, and then we are going to pass the error, then we will throw the error, and at the same time we are going to console log the error. There is no problem, we are going to console log connected successfully. Now we are going to export default connect DB. Now we can go back to the Nextauth.js, and then we are going to connect the DB. Now we are going to here and we type connect DB, and it will import from the library. So we save it and we have to execute, so we have to add a bracket at the end. Now we are going to create a model, and under the pages we create a folder called models, and then we type user model.js, and then we type something like this. So we import mongoose from mongoose, and then we create a schema, and we have the name, email, password, and we have the default avatars. Now we can use this to start creating our functions. So we back to the Nextauth.js, and we are going to see whether we have the credential providers. From the documentation, we copy the import credentials providers and paste to here, and then we copy this and also paste to our providers. Now we are going to edit this part, so we delete the comment, and actually we do not care about this, and we are going to correct this. So first we delete all of the things inside the bracket, and then we are going to get the email from the credentials dot, and then we have to add the constant password is also equal to the credentials dot password. And now we have these two things. The first of all, we are going to find whether we have this user, and we have to import the models. So we go back to the top, and we are going to import the users from models, and then we are going to select the user models. So we back to here, and we are going to use the find one, and then we use the email to find. So we are going to find if there is no user exists, and we are going to throw a error, and we are going to tell the user that you haven't registered yet. And if there's user, we are going to return sign in user, and we are going to pass the password and also the user, and we have to create these functions. So we go down to the bottom, and we are going to create the constant, the sign-in functions, async, and then we pass the password and also the user, and we are going to find if no password, then we are going to ask the user to type the password. So we are going to type throw new error and please enter password, and then if he already typed the password, we are going to check if this is matched the database. So we are going to use await bcrypt. So we are going to see whether we have import on the top. So we should import the bcrypt from bcrypt, and then we go back to the bottom. We are going to compare the password and also the user, and then if is matched, then we are going to throw the new error. If it's not matched, we are going to throw the error that password not correct. And of course, in the real case, we should not say the password not correct, because it will tell the hacker that the password not correct, and we should type password or username not correct. And if all is fine, then we are going to return the user. So we already create all the functions. However, we haven't created a form to let the user to sign in. So we have to back to the sign in form and go to the form, and we create another form. And first we have to add two state. And then we duplicate, and then we have password set password, and then we create another, this is message, and set message, and the default value is null, and then we create another form. And then we are doing the very similar thing. So we copy this and paste to the form, and then we have the label, and also the another label with password. And here we set value is equal to email, and on change is equal to event, and going to set email, and this is e.target.value. And we also copy this and paste to here, and this is password, and we are going to use that password. And then at the end of the form, we create the button. And then we type sign in with credential. And then at here we on click. And then we are going to paste the sign in user. Now we are going to create these functions. So we copy this and we have to pass the event. So we go to the top and create these functions. And we try to console log the email and password. We click on sign in and we go to inspect, and we have to add the event.prevent default, otherwise it will go to another page. And now we type something and click sign in. Now we can get the password and also the email. And now we have to let the options is equal to, inside the options we add redirect is false, and then we also pass the email and also the password. And then we are going to add the constant is equal to the response is equal to await, and then sign in method, and then we are going to pass the options. We are going to set the message is null, and then we are going to check if the response has any error message. If yes, we are going to set the error message. So we use set message as response.error, and then if there's no error, we are going to use the routers dot push, and then it will go back to the home page. And we have to use the async function, so we type async, and then we want to add a part that can show the error message, so we use paragraph, and the style is equal to color is red, and at here we are going to display the message. Now we go to here and we go to sign in, and then we type some Gmail, and then we enter we click on this, and right before we test the functions, we have to go back to the Nextauth.js, and we have to add the database, and which is the MongoDB URI. So now, and we type some email, and then we type some password, and then we click sign in. And by the way, remember you have to change back the Nextauth URL to localhost if you want to test inside the local server. So we have to add the sign in again. And now we are going to type some password and click sign in with credentials. Now you can see we have this warning that you haven't registered yet. And this is correct because we haven't registered any email before. And before we continue to create a register function, we can see there is 2 buttons here. So we have to fix this. So we back to the sign in form, and we are going to check if the provided name is equal to email or is equal to credentials. We should not render the button. So now you can see the buttons gone. And the other thing is we are going to add the register functions. So we also have to add the register button. So we create another button. And then we type sign up. So this time we are going to create the sign up functions. And right before we create the sign up functions, we create the register API. So we go to the API and we create register.js. And you can see it has an example, so you can copy this and paste to the register functions. And we have to use the bcrypt, so we have to import the bcrypt from bcrypt, and we also have to use the user models, so we import the users from user model. So we save it. Now we have the request and response, and we can delete this first. And now we are going to get the body is equal to request.body. And because later we will pass all the information to a property called body. And then we type constant user is equal to await. Because before we register any user, we are going to search whether it already register. So we use user.find1, and then the email is equal to body.email. And we are going to check if user, then we can copy this and paste to here. We are going to return a message and let the user know that it already registered. And then we return, and then we create a sort, and then we are going to create a hash password, and then we can copy from the website, and we copy this and paste to here. But this time we have to change this to S because our naming of model is users. And then we use users.save, and then we delete this and we use await. And after await, we are going to return the message, and we type registered successfully. So we already created API, so now we can create the register functions. So we use constant sign up user is equal to async, and then we use event.preventDefault. Then we use the fetch function to create a post, and then we post the email and password to the API that we just created. And then after that, we are going to wait for the response. So we use the data is equal to await response.json, and then we are going to set if data.message, and then we are going to set message data dot message, and then if the data dot message is equal to success, and we should be registered successfully, then we will log in, and so we can copy this, and then we also go to the home page, and I think we also have to set the message null before sign up. So now we can use these functions. So we go to the bottom and type on click, and then the event and sign up user. So now we save it, and we have to use the arrow functions, and then we save. Now we go to try to sign up. So we go to command this to see what happened, and it has the await used in the register. So we have to go back to the API, and we have to add the async in order to use the await. Now we go to try again, and we go to sign in, and we type the password, and then we press sign up. The two names are the same, so we have to change this to, I think change this is easier. Now we go to sign up, and now you can see it registered successfully, and it will go to the home page. And if we go to the MongoDB and refresh, now you can see the user object, and we also have the password. So now we can go to sign in, and then we type 123 and click sign in with credentials. I think we better make some arrangement on this. So we have the sort, and we also have the hash path. So now we are going to create the users, and we have the email is equal to, and this is also need to change this to body, and this is body.email, and the password is equal to hash path, and then we are going to save the user. So now we are going to delete this user, and back to the email, and we type the password and sign up. Now we go to sign in, and I think we have spot the problem is I forgot to type the user dot password. So when we use sign in user, compare the password passed by the user or typed by the user, and this is the user from the MongoDB. So we compare the user type, the password that user type, and also the password from MongoDB. So now we can go to here and go to sign in. Now you can see there is no problem. And now we can go back to the sign in page and uncomment the router push. So we can back to the localhost, and you can see it's signed in as John, and we can see whether we can use the session dot user dot, because we have Now we can see the avatars, and we can sign out and then sign in, and then we try to sign in with Google, and now you can also see the profile image.